Hi folks, a little bit different video this time than we're used to doing. We wanted to take a moment and discuss our own experience with the supernatural. In most of the videos that we do for Curious History, we seem to put a little bit of a ghostly paranormal spin on things, either dead in the video or towards the end. And there is a reason for that, and I thought we would take the time to share that with all of you. First of all, before we get into the introductions, at the time that we are filming this video, we have reached 7,000 subscribers. I don't know how that happened. I'm completely delighted that that happened. We are both very grateful that has happened. So thank you to all of you who have subscribed. It's an honor for us to be invited onto your device or into your home. When I started this, it was just me and my iPhone with no real rhyme or reason, no real goal, and then all of a sudden, here we are. So my heartfelt thanks to all of you who have subscribed. For those of you who are watching for the first time, go back and look at our other uploads that we have, and you'll kind of understand why the community has grown as quickly as it has. Our channel's not even a year old, and we have some fantastic members of the community who've really helped us along. So thank you so much for 7,000 subscribers. It is an absolute honor. So the gentleman to your right, my left, this is John.
No, this is John.
No, this is John.
Okay, well, yeah.
If you haven't guessed it, this is my son. He has been heavily involved in all things when it comes to the arts. So he is a guitarist, he is a lyricist, he is a musician, in front of and behind the board. He is a photographer, he is a videographer.
Yep.
And when I started this channel, there was a point in time where I asked him just to come along, just to help me and keep me company. There was one point in time where I think you came up and you were like, hey, do you want me to do stuff?
Yeah, so that was the funny one too, because that was the first video that kind of took off for us. It was the Phantom Train video. We had talked about, hey, we're going to go out this way. I had a friend who's experienced some of the he was the guy in the video, Dylan. So Dylan's like my best friend. He's been my best friend for like 20 years. So when he had said, hey, we're going to go out and this is what I'm going to shoot, I said, cool, we'll call Dylan, we'll talk to him and see if he wants to go with us. So we head out to go film that. And kind of while we were out there, he's setting up a shot and it looked good. And he started to film it, and Dylan's behind the camera with me, and we're just letting him do his thing. And then instead of really okay, cut it, let's go, we'll pick up and go somewhere else, I just sort of grabbed it was your gimbal and your phone on a tripod at the time. I just picked it up and moved it, and we went to the next shot. So I kind of ended up shooting that first one, and I tell him, hey, if you need help, because I don't remember if you'd expressed something like you had a question or if what it was exactly, but
it was probably something to the effect of, what do you think of this angle?
Yeah.
How did the railroad tracks fit behind me? Was I standing on the right side of the camera or whatever?
Right.
And at that point it was just, well, here, let me just set it up for you.
Yeah.
And so it kind of just took off from there. And John has his own equipment. So there was a point in time where there was a palpable difference in video quality and production quality. And you can see it on probably the next video.
Yeah, I think it was because that was, like I said, that was the first one that I shot, and then later after it was released and we were talking about future videos, it was like, hey, do you just want me to come with you and film? Because I can do that. That's not an issue.
Right.
And so
that was the Helltown video.
That was
I think that was the first video because
it was because right next to it,
because I did High Bridge.
Yep.
With your help, and then the very next video was
And well, so I came with you to film Hybrid.
That's right.
But I barely did anything on it.
Then we did Phantom Train, and then the next video was Helltown, and Helltown has a completely different quality.
No, totally. Yeah.
The reason why we're talking about this, I know this video is about the supernatural experience, but I wanted you to kind of get an idea of who he was and what he does. He gets 0 camera time, and I wanted to introduce him to all of you so that you know who he is and what he does and how he helps this project along, this channel along. So if you have any questions for John regarding what's it like growing up with a dad who's crazy into history and stuff, or what kind of gear do you use, what kind of software do you use,
right.
How did you do this scene or whatever, we're going to leave a link to his contact in the description below.
Yep.
Just click on that, it'll go right to him.
I'll probably link my email, and if you have anything that you want to ask me, I am big gear nerd when it comes to music and to video, photo stuff. Yeah, like I've played guitar for 20 years, almost 18 years. Yeah. I've been in a bunch of bands. I've released a couple records. I do this with my dad now, which is awesome. Doing photo stuff and video stuff. Filmed a music video a couple weeks ago. Like if you want to know about any of that stuff, hit me up.
Yep,
I'll gladly talk to you.
Now, the paranormal experience that we had, and I say we because we both had this at the same time in the same place. In 2016, we went to Nevada to visit relatives. One of our relatives mentioned Virginia City. Now, I don't know if he was aware too much of Virginia City.
Not a clue.
I was aware of Virginia City only from the TV show, was it Bonanza? Virginia City was an Old West mining town, a silver mine town in the hills in Nevada. And that place has stood the test of time. It's kind of a tourist trap now, but it has kept its own unique footprint on the landscape, the upkeep of the buildings, the way people dress themselves in the town. It's just, for me, it was a great place to visit. So we decided to take a trip up to Virginia City, and one of the places that we wanted to go to was supposedly a haunted location. It was called the Old Washoe Club. And for those of you who've watched Zach and his crew on Ghost Adventures, that location was where they shot their pilot episode, and that got picked up by Discovery or whoever picked it up.
Whoever. It's been on a bunch of networks now, I think.
But that episode was picked up because they caught an apparition walking across the floor.
It was it was that full body apparition, and it walked, from one end of it was probably 15 feet or so to the other end. And it was pretty compelling. It was something, that's for sure.
So we got to take a tour of that location, and it was a small group. We had a tour guide, and there was probably 6 of us.
Yeah, we were half of them, you know what I mean? So there were not many of us.
Yeah, it was you, me, and your cousin.
Yep.
And we were enjoying ourselves looking around. It's just, a lot of history in that building. It was a social club. It was probably a house of ill repute. It was certainly a gambling site.
Absolutely.
It was all the things that you would expect out of an Old West mining town. The upstairs portion, it's like a 3-story building.
Yeah.
And the upstairs portions were very cleared out and back to the original architecture. And we actually got to visit that room where the apparition was caught. And we did something in that room, right?
Well, so the whole the whole tour was, it wasn't like it was late at night. This was the middle of the afternoon. This was maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? We went through the entire process of the tour. I remember more than once they had spots set up in there to spook you and stuff. It was pretty fun. Like they would put a mannequin in a dark corner so you'd think you'd see something out of the corner of your eye. The one woman on the tour, she rounds the corner. She yelped, as loud as she could. It was hilarious. And
then inadvertently, I peeled off from the group.
Oh, yeah.
we were walking down a hallway into another room, and I kind of peeled off. I was behind you. And then there were people behind me, and I saw something shiny and went to the right. And ended up going, well, where am I? I should turn around and go back with the group. Just when she rounded the corner, she was looking the other way. She turned and saw me, and it was I didn't mean to.
But, you know, she had a little bit of a heart attack.
A little bit.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
but,
ahead.
You know, you're fine. But going through the tour was awesome. Really cool. We get to that room that we were just mentioning with the full body apparition. And they tell you about that entire process. Oh, we had this crew come in and film, etc. Mm-hmm. And they say, well, you start at this end of the room, and then we'll have you walk the exact path that the apparition does, and we'll take your photo in the middle of it. So we do. And the whole time that we're taking this tour, we're taking photos, of course. Mm-hmm. And just iPhone photos at this time. Like, I definitely didn't have a camera at this time. Mm-hmm. At some point, we were out. We all decide we're hungry. Let's go down the road. What was the place? The Palace?
The Palace Saloon, yeah.
Really cool place. Going the entire city, like, I can't express that enough. The entire city is really cool. Tourist trappy, I suppose, but I'm into it. I like it.
Oh, yeah, me too.
For sure. So we go to the Palace, order some food, and, you know, thumbing through on your phone, looking at photos you just took. And at some point, there is an image that you took.
Yes.
That has, I believe it. So I think it has Alana's. I think it has it has my cousin's feet in it, my cousin's shoes, and then a pair of brown boots in it. You know what happens. You're taking a photo, and as you take it, you move just enough. And remember, this is 2016, so this is 6 years ago now, which is insane to me. And as you take that photo, and you kind of are, you know, you're taking them, and you go to put it down. As you're putting your phone down, you take another one because you click a button, or you fat finger it, or whatever. Well, that was the photo that we end up taking. No people on this tour are wearing brown boots. And there's no mannequin in this room, like we had talked about. There's no mannequin in this room wearing brown boots.
It's even worse. There's nobody standing on the side of her at all.
Right.
We were closest to the door.
Right.
Everybody else had kind of rounded around towards the person who was leading the tour. There was no one there.
No.
But there's a pair of shoes there. And maybe a pair of legs.
Yeah.
It's when we looked at that, we're sitting there and we're like, what the heck? What is this?
Right.
Oh my gosh, did we capture something there?
Yeah, with a place that's, I mean, it is, you can feel it in the air when you're in that place. It's a little heavy for sure. I can't imagine what it's like when you get into later at night and it starts getting really spooky and active. But while you're there, you can feel it for sure. Mm-hmm. It doesn't stop at that, though. That was the issue with this.
It really didn't stop.
And this is where it started to kind of, the whole thing collapses, right? So we've got these pair of shoes, and full of confusion, looking at each other, trying our best, trying everything we could to rationalize it. Now we're going through all the other photos, all the other videos, trying to find who's wearing brown boots. Doesn't exist. And like during all this, we're sitting at a bar eating, right? And as this is happening, and we're talking about this, and we're starting to put together like, okay, little spooky, whatever. His phone starts going off, and he's getting text messages that are a random assortment of numbers and letters. And was it no sender?
It was no sender.
There was no information to lead you back to it at all. And I think you got 3 or 4 messages in a row, inexplicably, for nothing, from, again, no one. There's no number to send back. It's not a contact, nothing like that.
It literally said no sender, and it was not an iPhone message.
No.
It was like an Android sending to an iPhone.
Right, so you get green bubbles.
It was no sender, and it was gibberish, and it was like 3 in a row they came. And that's the moment the fur stood up. That was like, oh my God. I mean, I'm actually thinking to myself at this point, we have picked up a spirit at the Washoe Club.
Yeah, now we're going to
bring it back to, so that was, I was so spooked by it that instead of taking a screenshot I deleted them.
Yeah, you like panic delete and like restart your phone
Right,
as
I did.
fast as you can.
Yes, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I restarted my. I was like, "There's something
Like,
wrong."
something's wrong. Yeah, because again, you're still trying to rationalize it and put it together. But I to this day, I still don't have an explanation for the text messages. If you have an explanation for the text messages, if you're somebody who works with cell towers or at Area 51, we were in Nevada. You know, anything like that, just tell us. Tell us what it was or what it could have been, because I'd love to hear that.
If you have ever seen a text message come to your phone that says "no sender,"
Right.
let me know, because
Please.
I've never heard of that. I saw it with my own eyes, and I will never forget that experience as long as I live. That was that was amazing.
It was crazy. It was completely unreal. Completely.
So do spirits exist? That's up to you to believe what you want to believe. For us, yeah.
I would be inclined to say so.
Yeah, I think so.
This is only one example of a few things that have occurred I can think of in my life, for sure, that I've gone, I just don't have an explanation for this.
Maybe it's you, not me.
Maybe. Fine, I guess.
Okay, well, that's our trip down the paranormal path, as it were. That's what we experienced. Now it's time for you. Tell us what you've experienced. So 7,000 subs. By the time this comes out to you guys, I don't know how many subs we'll have by then. You have probably noticed that it's taking me longer to reply to your comments. There's more of you. I do work a full-time job. I do research and write the scripts and rewrite the scripts. I'm the guy who gets the rest of the clan together and says, this day, this time, that's when we're going to go shoot. More often than that, though, it's like, what's the weather going to be?
Yeah, well, in Ohio especially, because a couple days ago it's 91 degrees. If it snows in 2 weeks, we'll let you know. It might,
Yeah, who knows? That's Ohio, sure.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously going out and recording video, and you got to sleep sometime, although it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Who's got time for that? It does sometimes take me a little longer to respond to all the messages. I'm trying to keep up the best I can. Don't be offended, please, if you get a heart and a like. It might be that the comment is that you've given me is just, hey, I like the video. Thank you. And that's my way of letting you know that I got it and I appreciate it. Some of your comments are, hey, what do you think about this? Or would you do this? And then it takes a little bit more conversing, and I'm happy to do that. Just be patient with me, folks. It's not always easy, but I am still trying to make the effort to get as many responses to you as I can. So that's what's going on in our world.
Yep.
And again, if you have any paranormal experiences that you'd like to talk about, in the comments, please. I would love to see them. He would love to see them. I know there's a boatload of you people out there that subscribe that are engaged, super engaged, and you love to talk about these things too. It doesn't have to be paranormal either. If you have family history you want to talk about,
sure,
anything, that's fine. I'd love to hear from you. You can also find us on social media. We have a Patreon account. For those of you who don't know what's on our Patreon account, a lot of you have seen our outtakes. A lot of you have seen our behind the scenes videos. Those are landing on Patreon now. Also, the videos that we make, those are the real videos that we make are landing on Patreon before they land on YouTube as an early access, depending on the tier that you choose. So if you're so inclined, and if you can, check that out. Again, social media, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and did I forget one?
TikTok.
Huh?
Yep.
That's just...
Yeah, see, this is one of those things. It's like, the social media stuff started with my generation, and now I'm being left behind too.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So follow us there. We're happy to engage with you there as well. And for this one, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, share it. That would be great. And for my son John and for the rest of my family, I want to thank you again for all being here. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time when we explore more curious history. Take care.